John, thanks for coming in
Good to
today.
see you, Michael.
Appreciate
How
it.
are
Dave,
you?
thanks
Yeah.
for inviting him in. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So tell me what's on your mind.
Well, I've been working at Verizon for 20 plus years,
Ooh.
and I'm looking to retire probably within the next 6 months to a year. There's a lot of things on my mind. I don't know what I'm going to do after retirement. I've accumulated a decent amount of assets, and I also have a pension that they're offering me.
Got it.
I'm not exactly sure what to do with it. I've worked at Verizon for a long time. I have a more technical job, and watching the investments part of my portfolio is just not something that I don't desire to do.
Got it. Well, Dave, thanks for inviting John in. I appreciate it. And some things that Dave and I talked about is, first of all, congratulations. 20 years at Verizon. That's unbelievable.
Thank you.
6 months away. You're basically at the finish line.
That's right.
Wow. And as the market's down again today, I can see why the topsy-turvy market of going up and down has you a little nervous.
Yeah. I just don't want another 2008.
No one wants another 2008. There's ways that we can avoid what happened in 2008 that will not even affect your account. And I know with Verizon, because we've had a few clients, there are a few options. One of the options is keep it at Verizon and just take their pension. The question is, though, what happens if something happens with Verizon? What happens to your pension? There are quite a few client-friendly investments that will protect your asset, potentially have it grow, but also will give you the same pension income that you'd get from Verizon, but it's backed by a large insurance company.
Well, tell me about that. How does that work?
Sure.
What is that, stocks?
No stocks. It's actually an annuity.
Okay.
And what it is, when I'm saying it's an annuity going back in time always was like a pension, because after you hold the annuity, it gives off a stream of payments.
Well, I've heard about annuities. I've heard a lot of bad things about them. They lock up your money. Can you tell me more about them?
Yeah, definitely. There's all sorts of annuities. There's good ones, and there's bad ones, just like there's good and bad stock investments.
I see.
But there's annuities that have a 5-year surrender, there's annuities that have a 7-year surrender, there's annuities that have a 10-year surrender. In your situation, either way though, whether you pick Verizon or whether you pick an annuity, once you go into Verizon, your money's locked up. You're getting your income stream. With an annuity, your money is locked up with the insurance carrier. And the reason why for that is that they go out and secure investments that are conservative, that guarantee that your investment's going to be safe, no matter what market condition happens.
So guaranteed, just like my pension.
Guaranteed just like your pension, but through the claims paying ability of an insurance company.
I see.
So for an example, we've heard companies going out of business that have had pensions, but it doesn't cover the clients that have the pensions coming out of it. What an insurance, you haven't really heard of any insurance companies going under. So
No.
you're taking the liability away from Verizon and putting it on the insurance company,
Well,
which is a lot safer.
Verizon's so big, they're never gonna go out of business.
Well, that is one train of thought, but have you ever heard of Enron?
Oh, yeah, I sure have.
A lot bigger than Verizon, right?
Sure.
They went out of business, and you know what happened to all those people who had their 401ks and taking pensions?
And I lost their ass.
It just went away.
Wow. I didn't think about that.
You definitely wouldn't want to do that. And it may not be for all of your assets that you have at Verizon. We can set something up where you have something Dave actually has, where you have money in a cash account to take withdrawals out of. You have your emergency fund, but then you're gonna have your annuity that is going to flow with income, whether it's monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, or annually, on an income stream.
I see.
But also, while your assets are in there, they're growing tax deferred, and you're not being taxed on that money until you take it.
Is that kind of like a 401k?
It's similar to a 401k that you're not being taxed on it, but just like a 401k, when you're taking it out, you're only being taxed on the portion that you take out.
I see.
But different than a 401k, if we do have a market correction of 2008 that you mentioned before, your 401k could turn into a 201k.
Sure.
We don't want that to happen. If we have a market correction with an annuity that I'm talking to you about, your money actually stays the same. So if 2008 happens again, your 400,000 that you have would stay at 400,000 minus what you took out that year.
I see.
So when the market's going up and down and up and down, you're sleeping at night because you're not worried about it. When the market goes up 10%, you're gonna share in those gains. Our goal is to get you between 3 and 6%. If the market, for example, goes up 10%, we wanna get between 30 and 60% of the market
I see.
return. Now, if you're only taking out 4% and you're growing your money at 4%, that's a wash. So that means that your asset that you have, that you've grown for 20 years, is staying exactly the same.
I see.
And I know you have kids, that's what Dave told me. How many children do you have?
Yeah, I have two kids. They're
Boys, girls?
just going into college.
Just going,
Two boys, twins.
ooh, that's great.
And I've been married. What happens if I drop dead tomorrow?
Actually, the payout can be a single payout, and then if something happens to you, the rest of the money that's inside the annuity is gonna go to your wife.
Because Verizon offers me, I can either take a single life, or I can take life, and if I pass away, my wife gets my social security, and she also gets half of my pension.
Correct. With an annuity, they can get the full, your wife can have you can have a joint payout. Your wife is gonna get the same exact payout, no step down in payout, the same payout you are getting. And that's for your life and your wife's life. That's called a joint payout.
I see.
So they have single and joint payouts. So the annuity is gonna be really, really flexible. And the surrender charge is not something you should worry about. Because if you were gonna go with Verizon, that money's gonna be locked up anyway. So we would look at a 7-year or 10-year surrender charge. The good thing about that is that after 7 or 10 years, whatever you have left in the account, if there's something else better out there that can get you greater income, you're gonna be able to go into that.
Well, I've got, I don't necessarily need to take the income right now. Verizon is asking me to turn it on. That's gonna throw me into a way bigger tax bracket, cause I've got some real estate and I've got stocks and a lot of other things that are going on. I have enough income, but Verizon is forcing me to take $80,000 a year in income. That's gonna throw me into a way bigger tax bracket.
That's 100% correct. So one thing we can do that the annuity is very flexible at is that you can defer the income. And actually, with what Dave did, he's deferring the income until he needs it. While that income's deferring, it's getting a great, what is called a roll-up rate. So that income is guaranteed to grow between 5 and 7.2% every single year, depending on what company we decide to go with. So because you're deferring the income, your income is gonna be a lot greater. What you have with Verizon is they're gonna give you a number, and that's gonna be your number, and you're gonna start taking income off of it.
Right.
So for flexibility purposes, it really sounds like the annuity is gonna be the right thing for you.
I see.
But if you have any other questions, and I see you brought your statement here, which is great, what I can do is look at your statement. One thing I think we should do is probably bring your wife in, bring her into the loop, go over a few things, and we can see if this annuity is right for you.
Yeah. And what kind of insurance companies do you work with?
We actually have about 95% of all the insurance companies that are in the marketplace today. So you're talking about the names like American General, Allianz, Lincoln Financial, AXA, Principal, Prudential.